Hello and welcome back to the old Golden Black. It's nice to be here and I hope you're all okay. On this snowy day I thought I'd just stay indoors and make a little video ranting about the performance the other day against Chorley. Not quite as explicit as some of the others I've seen online. Jason Guy, I hope you're okay, mate. And yeah, just sort of give you some thoughts and opinions of mine going forward for the Wolves, and hopefully that we can improve. So this morning I actually sat down with the intention of making a video that was suggesting some possible replacements for Nuno Espirito Santo if he was to leave or to get sacked. I did notice, however, he was a lot more chipper in his interviews before and after the Chorley game, although his mask was covering his face in the immediate pre and post match interview, so he could have been whispering some profanities under his breath. But it would suggest that the experts don't see him being sacked as a possibility. He's 25-1 with Bet Victor on the sack race to be the next manager sacked. So I don't think that is likely to happen. And also, the teams that he's linked to going to next, or his possible next team, whenever that might be, are the likes of Man City, Atletico Madrid, Man United. So the experts and the football people still think of him very highly. And I don't think that Nuno would walk away. I think he's had a tough couple of weeks. I think we all have. I think that win against Chorley would have done him some good, and a lot more good than it did the fans, certainly the other day. So I don't think that he'll leave. And also, he has got the best win percentage of any Wolves manager ever. And that's from 170 odd games now. So it's no mean feat. He's done really, really well. He's an exceptional manager. He's just having a tough time, and he's had rotten luck with injuries this year. We've had rotten luck with some decisions going out against us. We've played really poorly as well. So all of that has added to this situation that we find ourselves in now. But I do think he's to blame with some things. I think the size of the squad has always been his mantra. He's always wanted to have a really small squad, and he's paying for that now. You don't have a direct replacement for Jimenez. We play in such a distinct way that you need to have two players who can play that same role that Jimenez does, because we've been very lucky with Jimenez that he's been able to play nearly 100 games without being injured at all. But it was always in the back of my head that he could have a really serious injury. And I think I mentioned on Harry Mansell's channel actually a few months ago that he could break his leg or anything like that could happen, and he could be out for a long, long time. That has happened, and now we're really struggling. And that was really key the other day. You look at, they kept mentioning the £60 million strike force that we had with Silva and Catrone, and they were rubbish. The other two for Chorley looked better. The electrician and the PE teacher looked more likely to score than our two, and that's because of the movement off the ball, partly, and also to do with the delivery that they were getting. They were not getting anywhere near the quality of ball or quality of assists from the wide players that they would need to score. Obviously, I've mentioned Raul already. He was on course this season to score around about 15 goals. If you take his 4 goals that he scored in 10 games and then work that out as an average, he would have scored around about 15, which is in keeping with his 17 tallies from the previous 2 seasons. I think he probably would have done that as well, because the style of play hasn't changed. That's what's been really annoying, is that we haven't adapted and thought differently about how we could play without our focal point. It's been good for Fabio to have this run of games now, and he scored a couple of goals, one from open play and one penalty. And he's looked okay at times. I think some of his touches inside the box and some of his movement inside the box. Tim Spears always points out on The Athletic that he's getting into these positions, which is a real difficult thing to do. To get the chances is the hardest thing to do at Premier League level, but then he's not putting them away as frequently as somebody like Jimenez would. So hopefully in time, but I mean, when we're talking about that in time, we're talking 2 or 3 seasons time that Fabio Silva will be good enough. Personally, I would have, he would have played all season in the 23s this year. I'd be thinking about sending him out on loan perhaps for the whole of next season. Now we've got Willian Jose, because he's Portuguese, Brazilian. Now we've got Willian Jose. Hopefully Jimenez will come back. It does seem as if Wolves are pretty optimistic about him returning at some point. He's just returned to sort of light training and jogging. We're missing a couple of players as well. There's been a lot spoken about Jota and how well he's done at Liverpool, but I actually think that it's Doherty we're missing more. And it's ironic that Doherty's gone on to play really poorly at Tottenham or barely played at all. And Jota's been the star man in terms of the players that we've sold, although he's been injured for quite a while now as well. The reason why Doherty is more important, I feel, to the way that we play was highlighted in the game against Hull City in 2018 in the promotion push. Just after the Middlesbrough game, Doherty, of course, had been sent off. Neves was also sent off. Everybody at the time was thinking about how much we were going to miss Neves, but it turned out that Doherty was the key man, and it took an awful lot of changes. I think, from memory, I think somebody like Ryan Bennett might have started on the right wing back on that day, and then Cavallero came on or dropped back and tried to play in that position for a few minutes, and then it still wasn't working, and then Oscar Burr came on and ended up scoring that goal. That really highlighted for me the importance of him and his link with Cody. Cody and Doherty, for I don't know what percentage, but probably you're looking at 80 or 90% of the games that Nuno's been in charge of, that those two have been playing, and those two have been really key. You think about every goal kick that Patricio had last season, he was aiming for Doherty on that right wing. You know, every time that Cody got the ball with a bit of space, Doherty was making runs in behind the right winger, overlapping, and he was really key to every bit of attacking play that we had. And that's what we're missing, is Semedo doesn't get it at the minute, or unless Nuno has decided to change completely the way that we play, because Semedo comes inside a lot. I don't know why that is, whether that's a Nuno change or whether that's the way that Semedo plays, but we don't have that width because Semedo comes so far inside with the ball. Doherty did used to do that from time to time. You think about the goal he scored against Manchester City at Christmas time 2019. You know, perfect example of cutting inside and then with his left foot scoring the winner. Brilliant. But he didn't used to do that very often. You used to find him getting around the outside of whoever the right winger was, and then the winger would tend to come inside and produce something. So I think we've changed the way that we play. It's not working. I would be tempted to go back to the same kind of style that we played with Doherty and getting the ball out quickly from the back three. I know I've been a big advocate for a back four for years, but I've been saying on Talking Wolves the last couple of weeks that have appeared on there that we're just not good enough to play that position, that formation, sorry. We've got Cody, who's very, very right-footed. We've got Bolly, who's very, very right-footed. At the moment, they were our first choice for the back two. Personally, I think it might be better to have Sace and Bolly and drop Cody altogether, because I think Cody's been very error-prone recently. Penalties given away, poor passing, poor tackling, poor heading. I think we've looked really, really weak. I know Sace hasn't been brilliant either, and I know that Nuno has said that signing a centre-back in the summer is a priority, and it has to be. We need a left-footed one and a right-footed one so that we can get those balls cross-field from either side of a back four. I think Bolly's good enough. I don't think Sace or Cody is good enough at the moment to play in a back four. So for the remainder of this season, we have to play a back five. We have to play back three with a very balanced, or as balanced as we can. I wouldn't mind even seeing Kilman playing on that left side as well. I think he's been one of the stars of the season so far. I think it also goes without saying that we've missed Johnny an awful lot. We haven't had that left-sided balance that we had throughout the last two seasons. And I would argue that he's probably been the biggest miss of the season, because we've lacked his defensive work as well, the way that he reads the games, his interceptions, you know, when he nips in front of the wingers. You know, he's a very, very capable left back. He also could have played right back and Semedo on the left, and you know, we could have mixed things up a little bit like that as well. But I think he's been the bigger miss of the season. We've missed Jimenez's goals, obviously, but just for general all-round play, for players that are still within the squad, it's been Johnny who's been the biggest miss. And finally, just the pace at which we play is worrying, really, really worrying. I watched a video last week by Gully Kular, who is on the Fancast, Wolves Fancast, and he was doing a tactical analysis of the match against the Albion, and he pointed out that Wolves players on average had 5 seconds or 5.5 seconds to make a pass. Now that shows you the lack of pressure that was coming on from the Albion, and then our inability to find the right pass in all that time. 5 seconds is such a long time in football. You think about you know, when we're playing against teams like Man City or Liverpool, when they're pressing really hard against us, we're probably having 1 or 2 seconds to make a pass. We had so much time to make passes, and I don't think that suits the way that we play. I think we prefer it when teams are coming onto us, and we have to make the passes quickly, or we have to try and break the lines and get in behind teams. We didn't get in behind Chorley at all the other day, and it was embarrassing that we didn't have the capability to do that. As soon as a team drops back against us, we panic because we haven't got the creativity or the thinking, the forward thinking to be able to beat a defence. It's so easy to beat us because teams just sit back, let us have the ball, and they know that we can't beat them. They double up on Traore. It's the same problems. You know, whether you're playing against Manchester City or Chorley, Traore couldn't beat the 2 men against Chorley. He couldn't work out that if there's 2 men here, there must be a spare man somewhere else. We don't switch play as quickly as we used to do, and that's key as well. We used to do that all the time in the Championship. That's how we got promoted, switching the play quickly. We don't do that anymore, and we were better at most Premier League teams at doing that as well. We just don't do it anymore. So it is a concern, and you know, there are a lot of weak points in the team at the moment. There's also a lot of young players in the team, and I'm very, very conscious about criticising them too much, because I think they will get better, but I'm conscious about their confidence going forward as well, because they will be good players. Whether it's for Wolves or not, we'll wait and see, but I've got faith that Nuno's brought in the right players. He knows what he's doing. You know, you don't become statistically the best Wolves manager of all time by just luck. He's got a good plan. He's sticking to it, and I do think that it's just better players, better decisions on the pitch, and just quicker, more intensity, more purpose to our attacks that will help us to improve. So I'm glad I've given myself a couple of days before making this video, because if I'd have made this on Friday night, it would have not been very considered. It would have been very harsh and critical of players who perhaps didn't need criticising. There are no positives to be taken out of the game from Friday night at all. Even the clean sheet. I mean, if you can't keep a clean sheet against PE teachers and plumbers, then you can forget it. So that's not a positive. I'm glad we're in the next round. I'm glad that it's Southampton as well, not Arsenal. Even though, well, you could argue that Southampton perhaps the better team at the minute. But I don't know about you. I don't really fancy winning the cup if it means watching it on the telly. But it would salvage this season, and perhaps Nuno's seen it as a route to Europe in what's been a really poor season. But hopefully, you know, we can strengthen in the future. But who knows? Let me know your thoughts on Wolves' current plight in the comments down below. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're back. So thank you very much as well for everybody who's watched this video. I'll see you in the future for the next video. Bye-bye.
Buzzing down the chip shop, by now you must have heard the Wolves I'm going to Wembley, buzzing either word.